Today's storybook session is a book called The Sand Horse. The author is Ann Turnbull, and our illustrator is Michael Foreman. Hope you enjoy. Once, there was an artist who lived in St. Ives. He lived with his wife and baby in a house by the sea. Sometimes the artist worked in his studio, but on fine days in the summer, he went to the beach and he made animals in the sand. He could make dogs and cats and seals and dolphins, but mostly he made horses. Horses, he said, were the most beautiful animal of all. One morning, the artist woke to a brisk blue day with a choppy sea and white crests on the waves. "Look, white horses," said his wife. When the sea is rough and the waves have white tops, people sometimes call them white horses. The artist saw them far out in the bay, plunging and galloping and tossing spray from their manes. "Today, I shall make a horse," he said. He went to the beach and he marked out his area and he put his hat down in the sand and he started work. First, he fetched water from the sea. He splashed some onto the dry sand. He patted and molded the sand. And then a horse began to appear. Muscles and hooves, a raised head and rippling mane. The beach filled up with people, and they stopped and they admired the sand horse. They threw money and the coins clinked into the artist's hat. And the horse grew. He was a galloping horse, galloping forever on his side. All day long the artist worked on his horse, shaping the muscles of his legs and neck, twisting each curl of his mane. He worked until the sun set and the beach grew cold. Families began leaving and they folded their deck chairs, they shook sand from their clothes. The artist scooped up all the coins in his hat and he went home. And the sand horse woke up. He was alive, but he could not move. He opened his one eye, but all he saw was clouds. He listened with his one ear, and he heard seagulls. He heard the boom and the hiss of the sea, and faintly in the crash of the waves, he heard neighing. A seagull landed on his back and walked about, jabbing the air with his sharp beak. "Seagull," said the sand horse, "what is that neighing that I hear?" "That's the white horses," said the seagull, "out in the bay." "Well, what are they doing?" "They are prancing and frisking and flicking their tails." "Well, where are they going?" asked the sand horse. "Everywhere," said the seagull. "Newlyn, Polperro, Megasasi, Merazon." "Well, I want to go with them," cried the sand horse. "You?" The seagull wheeled up into the air laughing, and all his friends joined in. He swooped down again and he said, You are only a sand horse. You can't go with them." The sand horse tried to move. He was a galloping horse, but he was fixed in the sand, and he could not go with them. The sky darkened, the seagulls flew away, and the boom of the sea grew louder. Much closer now, the sand horse heard the white horses neighing. "Come with us," they called. And the sea crashed on the shore, flinging spray over the sand horse. "Come with us." And the sea crashed again, and the sand horse was soaked with the spray. "Come with us," called out the white horses, "to Sennen, to Land's End, into the long ship's light." A wave broke, and it flooded over the sand horse, drenching his head and mane. "I'm coming," he called out. "Wait for me." Another wave broke, and the sea ran foaming all around the outline of the sand horse, filling every space. The sea sucked and pulled, and it was pulling him down the beach. I'm coming, he cried out. A huge wave rolled up onto the beach. It reared, curled over, and smashed down upon the sandhorse, washing away his mane, his head, his legs, his body. It went hissing back down to the sea, dragging the sandhorse with it. The sandhorse felt the waves buoying him up, and among the waves the white horses were prancing, and he neighed and he tossed his mane. His hooves struck spray from the sea. I can move, he cried. I can gallop. He frisked and he galloped and he swished his white tail, and all around him the white horses plunged and jumped through the waves. To Sennin they neighed, to Land's End, and they galloped away, and the sandhorse went with them. The next morning, when the artist came down to the beach, people looked at the smooth sand and they said, such a shame, all of that work of his washed away. But the artist just smiled. He knew where his sandhorse had gone. Come back and see another storybook session soon.